I mostly read public domain books here on Glenn Reads Books to You, and they were written a long time ago, so they're usually racist, or sexist, or bigoted. But in there somewhere is a story, and that's why those stories are famous. Other times, I read works from independent authors, and they're delightfully not racist. But they might have adult language or adult situations, like, making sex. So that's your warning. But I'm sure you're grown up enough to handle it. Don't write to me complaining.
Oh man, this is the best time of year.
The period between Christmas and New Year's, when you can still keep eating like a pig, and no one can tell you
You little idiot, you scared me. I almost had a chip go down the wrong tube.
What are you doing here? Don't you have your own family where you can go hang out with?
Don't they buy you presents or anything? We can sit alone on New Year's Eve, staring at your feet.
You certainly can't come here. You're not welcome to my house on Christmas Eve or on New Year's Eve. But right now, you are welcome to the Glenn Reads Books to You mansion. It's a fun little bit where I pretend to live in a mansion and not just recording my basement. This is where I read the hottest public domain books and short stories. This week, I'm going to read a compilation of Christmas and New Year's Eve stories while I eat chips. Okay? Because fuck you, it's my show and I can keep eating. I don't want to diet anymore. I want a whole month off for a break so I can just eat potato chips and sit around and read fan fiction that I found that relates to Christmas and fan fiction that I found that relates to New Year's Eve. And that's what I'm going to do. You can sit here if you want. I don't give a shit.
Anything exciting that happened to me over the holidays? No.
Even if it did, it's none of your business.
Burp. I had to do a tarot reading for a bunch of people. That was unnerving. So they have to act like I know how to do tarot readings.
So, did that between Christmas and New Year's. Hey, right out in the middle of nowhere. But, whatever. I think I impressed them.
Those country bumpkins.
Beyond that, I got nothing. And I'm just going to sit here quietly eating. You can't stop me. No, I'm not going to entertain you right now. You intruded on my space right now. And,
oh, the clock scared me. Down the wrong tube. That was different. There's a little bit of gravel there. I wonder if that'll stay. Well, so it's okay. So now I'm going to be reading to you Quiet Moments with You by Baroness Blixen. Summary: Scully is writing Christmas cards when Mulder shows up at her apartment. This is her favorite time, the last week before Christmas. Sitting in her armchair, legs tucked under her, and wrapped in a blanket. Soft Christmas music sounds through her living room as her assorted candles flicker lazily, providing a cozy light. It's perfect. There's a mug of hot cocoa on the coffee table waiting for her. She holds her nose close to it and takes a deep breath, enjoying the smell of sweet chocolate. She and Missy used to do this as children. She always waited long enough to drink until it was safe not to burn her lips and tongue. Missy never waited. Grinned at her with a cocoa mustache every time, never had any regrets. She misses her sister, especially on days like today. They used to write their Christmas cards together and share a bottle of wine, some cocoa, and laughed a lot. Scully smiles. The memories are deeply embedded. Fill her with warmth. Fill her with, the memories are deeply embedded. Fill her with warmth. Okay, whatever. Okay, so it says Scully puts another card on top of the finished pile and flexes her hand. This is her day off, and here she is writing like mad. But Christmas cards are not case reports. She takes another blank one and looks at it for a while. She's been thinking about this for a while, always changing her mind about it. In the end, she decides to go for it. Dear Mulder, she begins, and feels silly. Should she write Fox instead? She shakes her head. That's even worse. The words tumble out of her as soon as the pen touches the paper, her hand barely keeping up. She has to stop mid-sentence when she hears a knock at the door. She puts down the pen and tightens her cardigan around her. A look through the peephole reveals Mulder, waiting with his hands buried in his pockets. Hi! A gust of cold, fresh air hits her when she opens the door. Mulder's nose is red, his cheeks are white. He looks as if he spent hours in the cold. She ushers him in, and he's cold all over. Mulder, where have you been? You're freezing. It's winter. He shrugs and takes off his coat, looking like he's saying, "It's cold outside, baby." He grins at her, obviously proud of misquoting the popular song. What were you doing outside in jeans and this thin coat? But he doesn't listen to her. He's walking over to her couch as if sensing there's something he's not supposed to see. Hot cocoa. Mulder picks up the mug and warms his hands. His eyes are on her as he takes a small sip. That's mine, Scully pouts. I'm cold, Scully. I'll make some more. She shuffles into the kitchen. She expects Mulder to follow her because he usually does. Lately, he's come over just because more often. She likes it. They don't talk about it. Not about any of it. The way they drift closer when they sit on her couch and watch TV, or how he sometimes massages her neck, her feet. In these moments, they're just quiet. Afraid to say something, make it awkward, make the other one stop. They're moving towards a new level of intimacy, a new step in their ever-evolving relationship. Scully smiles as she spoons cocoa into a mug, but Mulder still isn't here in the kitchen with her. He's way too quiet. Sometimes he talks to her from the living room, from the bathroom even. That's disturbing. That's just Mulder. Talking to her while he's taking a crap. Tonight, though, he's silent. As she returns to him, a mug of steaming hot cocoa in her hand, she understands why. You weren't supposed to read that until Christmas. Her face is glowing. She hides it behind the mug. Oh, you wrote half a novel here, Scully. He holds up the card. There's a gentleness in his voice, a notion she can't quite place. It makes her stomach somersault. I wasn't even sure if I should give it to you. She could tell that the words hurt him. Why not? But what is it? Too emotional? Too intimate? She takes a sip from her hot cocoa, and it's too soon. She burns her lips and winces. Hey, be careful. Mulder is by her side in an instant. He takes the mug from her and touches her lip. His hands are no longer cold. His touch burns her, and she whimpers. Does it hurt? She shakes her head. No. You should put something on that reminds me why I came here in the first place. He eyes her carefully, but also excitedly. Mulder can so easily turn into a small boy. I have a gift for you, but I couldn't bring it upstairs with me. Now, she's curious. She giggles as Mulder leans over to her window. It's dark outside already, the street illuminated by the soft orange glow of the street lamps. A few snowflakes dance through the air, but her eyes land on the snowman that sits down there, looking up. I made this. Mulder's front touches her back as he steps closer to her. He sounds proud. You did? He is warm against her and distracting. His hands curl around her arms and he puts his head on her shoulder. I built it for you. For me? Why? Same reason you wrote that Christmas card to me. They don't say the word. Love. Scully leans forward to see the snowman better. No, Mulder was freezing when she let him in. Looking more closely, she can see that the snowman is holding something. What is that in his hands? My heart. What? Scully quickly turns in his arms and puts her hand on his chest where his heart is beating soundly. He chuckles. Not my actual heart, just he doesn't finish the sentiment, and he kisses her instead. They've always been better at not talking. His hands sneak around her waist. Hers go around his neck. Someone sings about love, about Christmas and greeting cards. Scully only smiles against Mulder's mouth. How very fitting. Now, man, something is, that did something to my voice. I'm going to take a sip of this boiling hot tea, see if that smooths things out. All right, here.
Oh, God, that tea is hot. I don't even like tea. I think it did maybe do something for my voice. I don't know. Maybe I should take it for a test drive. Oh, let's see. What's this? January 1st, New Year's by PawneePorpoise. PawneePorpoise. 3, 2, 1. The crowd goes wild with cheers on the small vintage television in the Men of Letters bunker as the clock strikes midnight in Kansas, welcoming in 2016 with as much fanfare and confetti as they could fit into Times Square. Oh, 2016. That was 10 years ago for you kids. Sam, seated on the floor closest to the TV, is only half paying attention to the show. At this point, more interested in looking for their first case to kick off the new year than watching the fake tan talk show hosts kiss up to a parade of celebrities. Across the room, Dean has settled into his end of the couch. Ooh, a little quote-unquote his. Little Dean possessiveness over here. With what is probably his 4th or 5th glass of whiskey in hand as he absent-mindedly hums Auld Lang Syne, eyes drifting shut as the alcohol warms his body. Though he started out at the complete opposite end of said couch, Cass, closer to 10 drinks in, he is an angel after all, has shifted horizontally, sprawling across the sofa, head on the cushion closest to Dean, tips of his dark mess of hair brushing against the elder Winchester's leg when either of them moved. His bright blue eyes are trained upward, studying the contours of the scruffy jaw overhead. Not that he needs to, of course. Castiel has everything about Dean memorized, has for years since he recreated his body after pulling his soul from an eternity in hell. But he enjoys watching Dean just exist. For Cass, it's all about the little things most people are moving too fast to notice. The way his pulse thrums just below the surface of his skin and that spot below his jaw. Chest rising and falling in a slow, steady pattern as he fights off inevitable, much-needed sleep. The way his calloused fingers drum an unconscious pattern against the side of his glass, causing the whiskey to slosh around inside. All of these things aren't really unique for a human, but together they make up a series of actions that Cass can only explain as being, in essence, Dean. And in the millennia he has spent in existence, of all the languages he has learned and all the sights he has seen, for the life of him, he can't put any other words to the sight currently before his eyes. Cass was so lost in his thoughts, eyes skimming across each spiked tip of Dean's hair, that he doesn't realize he's being watched until his gaze drops lower and he's met with a piercing green stare looking down at him. His breath catches, and he's not sure if Dean has said something to him and he just didn't reply, or if this conversation, like so many of theirs, is being carried out solely through their non-verbal cues. They stay frozen like this for only a few seconds, though the movement of time seems to slow down. Even the television sounds far away. Cass moves almost imperceptibly closer to Dean. The only tell is that his hair is now actually smashed down against the denim-clad thigh. Dean is still holding his gaze, and maybe staring at each other for this long without saying anything should be uncomfortable, but for them, it's just the norm. What's new about this, and maybe it's the 5 whiskeys, or maybe it's the New Year resolution spirit everyone tends to find themselves in at this time of year, but Dean's hand slowly slides off his thigh and down to cup the side of Cass's face. Ooh, it's getting sexy. Thumb stroking along his cheekbone. Cass breaks eye contact to glance quickly at the arm extending itself towards him, then leans gently against Dean's hand as he exhales a long breath he forgot he was still holding. But he doesn't have much time for anything else, because when he darts his eyes back up to find Dean again, he's already much closer than Cass expected, and suddenly their mouths are crashing together. The whole thing is pretty uncoordinated. First of all, he's upside down, so they don't quite align in a comfortable way, but Dean isn't holding back and doesn't seem to mind the mix of whiskey lingering in the hot space of breath between them. When they finally pull away, Dean only moves back enough for both of their eyes to focus again, and the toothy grin plastered on Cass's face is enough to tell him his forward advance was the right move. "What was that for?" Cass asks, voice barely above a whisper. I don't know. It's just a human tradition on New Year's," Dean replies, a deep shade of pink coloring his cheeks. His face cheeks or his butt cheeks? Cass opens his mouth to reply, but just then catches the beginnings of Sam speaking to them, and Dean quickly rights himself. But as Cass goes to sit up, a hand catches his shoulder, sliding him back down into a lying position, only closer still to Dean as his head now rests fully in the hunter's lap. Cass still isn't looking at Sam, but he catches the slight fumble in his words at what he assumes is the realization of his and Dean's current arrangement. But Sam recovers quickly, and without question continues with his story about a potential case. Cass tries to listen, but his eyes have drifted shut, and Dean's fingers are now weaving their way through his hair, lightly scratching his scalp in the most soothing of ways. Burp. At the beginning of the night, he wasn't quite sure why the turn of a single year was something to celebrate so grandly, but the warmth radiating through his body after their kiss and the somersaults in his stomach couldn't seem to stop doing were enough to sell him on the concept. Sam's finished his pitch for the case, and Dean has agreed they should probably look into it. Cass opens his eyes again, and Dean's staring back down at him, the smallest of smiles pulling at the corner of his mouth. "Hey, Cass." "Yes, Dean." "Happy New Year." Oh, that was heartwarming. Oh, yeah. Nothing I love more than a little supernatural fluff piece. Oh, something's really scrambling my brain. Oh, you know what might help? Maybe a little bit of Jägermeister.
Oh, my God. This is terrible. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? I have to get through this. I'm just going to get through this. Gonna get through this. This next story is Merry Christmas, Doctor Who. It's the English, England, Britain,
whatever you want to call it. It's Doctor Who. Many people are fans. It doesn't matter. The summary of the story is that the Doctor is informed of a curiously overpowered entity named Father Christmas, and he's coming tonight. Some say Father Christmas is not real, but that's what they said about fairies. Simon Barton sat cross-legged in front of the fire. Across from him sat the Doctor, also cross-legged, with her hands pressed together in a prayer position, the tips resting against her lips. She gazed into the middle distance, lost in thought. Eventually, she spoke.
So you say he visits every house?
Yes.
All in one night?
All around the world.
In a sleigh?
The Doctor said incredulously. Yes, but pulled by reindeer, Simon replied joyfully, his excitement increasing the more it was discussed.
My word, and how does he know which houses to go to?
He's got a big list. A big list. This caused the Doctor to pause, a look of concern crossing her face.
A big list of every child in the world.
The resources to pull together such a thing,
and you say he comes tonight?
Simon's father, Harry, who had been sitting in the corner of the room, tried to ignore the conversation while reading the paper. He felt at this point that he had to say something. Doctor, can I speak to you in the other room?
Of course,
the Doctor piped up, standing, tipping her hat to Simon and following Harry into the kitchen. In the kitchen, Simon's sister, Helen, and why are these people in the story, and his mother, June, were busy preparing dinner. Harry took the Doctor to one side and began to speak to him in a calm, matter-of-fact tone. Look, Doctor, Father Christmas is just a story. We make up for the children. He's not real.
But that's what you said about the fairies,
Doctor replied with suspicion. Harry did what he always did whenever the matter of fairies came up. He didn't respond and ignored the subject. After a momentary look of frustration crossed his face, Harry nodded awkwardly and left the room. Helen walked over to the Doctor to try and talk some sense into her. Father's right, she explained. Fairies is one thing, and Father Christmas is too silly to be real. The Doctor looked at Helen with mock shock and gasped,
My word, Helen, too silly? Silly things don't exist? Perhaps that means I might not exist!
Exclamation point. I don't know why they put that there. She held back. What? She held back my God. She held the back of her hand to her forehead and pretended to faint, a gesture that she'd learnt from a pantomime they had recently seen. Helen giggled at the Doctor's foolishness. The Doctor regained her composure and smiled.
Helen, I understand that this Father Christmas is quite a fanciful character. But I am a scientist first and foremost, and I want to find the truth for myself. Now, do you want to help me with my research?
In response, Helen smiled, and it was a smile that appeared to warm up the cold and winter night. Of course I would, Doctor. Simon, the Doctor, and Helen then got together and began working on their plan to catch Father Christmas in the act tonight. June appeared, charmed by the three of them discussing their plans, while Harry did his best to ignore what was happening. Simon and Helen's older brother, Benjamin, who was Benjamin? Why is he here? Benjamin stated that he didn't want to be involved in such nonsense and spent most of the night in his room. At one point, Simon and the Doctor got into a heated debate about whether the fire should be kept burning or put out, as the Doctor was concerned it would dissuade Father Christmas from entering the home. Eventually, why wouldn't they just do that with dialogue? Why wouldn't you write that out? That seems like if you're telling a story, you'd want to get that argument. Eventually, Helen, secretly not wishing to feel the harsh winter cold, convinced the doctor to keep the fire going, arguing that changing their usual Christmas routine might interfere with the experiment. Later that night, just a few hours before midnight, the doctor and Simon, sat together on the couch in front of the fire, having decided to take a direct approach with the mysterious Father Christmas. The doctor sat forward, both of her hands gripping her cane. She's got a cane now. Her cane tightly, her chin resting on the handle. So, are we just going to talk to him? Simon asked, both excitedly and slightly unnerved by the doctor's intensity. Of course, the doctor said, we will take the diplomatic approach and start with negotiation. Helen entered from the kitchen holding a tray. I made hot chocolate for us all. The doctor took a mug from the tray. Thank you, Helen, but not coffee to help us stay awake. Of course not. Nothing better on Christmas Eve than a cup of hot chocolate. The doctor considered this, then nodded and took a sip. I don't need it anyway. I've stayed awake for up to a week before using nothing but my sharp mind. Still, get comfortable. We have an exciting night ahead of us. Helen sat next to Simon and the doctor on the couch, and the three of them stared into the fire, waiting with intent. Time to wake up! Upon hearing these words, the doctor opened her heavy eyelids. She looked up and saw June standing in the doorway, the light coming through the windows now, and beside her, Helen and Simon were also. Why'd they even bring up Benjamin? And the mother and they're not even here. It's a waste of time. She looked up and saw June standing in the doorway, the light coming through the windows now, and beside her, Helen and Simon were also waking, stretching and yawning from their seats. Simon looked around the room and whined. We missed him. But he didn't miss you, June explained. In fact, I think you'll find he left you our presents. In the doctor's, Simon's, and Helen's lap sat 3 presents, beautifully wrapped in red paper and green ribbon. Simon quickly tore into his, revealing a collection of toy soldiers that made him squeal with delight. Helen opened hers to reveal a heavy hardback book titled The Encyclopedia of Things That Never Were. The blank pages, or, they never were. After watching them open their presents, the doctor looked down at her own. It was round and heavy, and it felt heavy. It was round and felt heavy. She cautiously unwrapped it, revealing a lump of black coal. It stained her fingers as she handled it. Simon burst into laughter while Helen tried to stifle her own giggle. Looks like someone made the naughty list, Simon teased. The doctor looked at the coal with confusion before glancing up at the people around her. In the doorway, Harry laughed and said, "Merry Christmas, Doctor Who." It would be better if the doctor just threw the coal. Just threw the coal at him. Just use the sonic screwdriver and then set the coal on fire. And then threw the coal. Just threw the flaming Oh my God. Why? Why is this happening to me? I'm just drinking alcohol. That's it. I'm gonna do all the bourbon. Doing all the bourbon. Bourbon. Oh, sweet. This isn't working.
God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Why do I sound like that? I don't care. I'm not editing that out because it's my show. You have to listen to it. All right. The next story is called Omit No Opportunity by... No. Okay, hang on. Omit No Opporunity, Opporunity by princetteofcats. That spelling does not bode well for the rest of this story. Summary. It's too long. I'm not going to read it. Notes. I thought it would be fun to make the first thing I write this year about ... Well, starting a new year. I like to think that in at least one lifetime or another, this is how Mercutio and Romeo met. It's mostly just fluff because of that. Regardless, I hope you all like it, and Happy New Year. Romeo isn't entirely sure what music is playing. It's too loud to actually hear. All he knows is that the bass is heavy in his chest, and the plentiful alcohol in his system only makes those vibrations more stimulating. He feels shook up and ready to burst, much like the champagne bottle in the hands of that cackling redhead behind the bar. The aforementioned redhead is the bartender, and he's been a riot the whole evening. He can mix drinks and crack jokes, and steal Romeo's breath away all at the same time. His hands are deft and elegant, and Romeo can't help but wonder if they're as skilled at unbuttoning as they are at uncorking. He can't remember anything about the face of the woman he'd been invited by, the one he'd been so hung up on these past 2 months. It's all been replaced by blue eyes and red hair, and that laugh that's far more intoxicating than anything listed on the chalkboard behind the countertop. 20 minutes before the ball drops, Romeo becomes aware that he too has been eclipsed. His date is ringing in the new year early, locked onto the lips of a beautiful blonde in a blue velvet gown, yeah. While this would normally leave him full of gloom and despair for weeks on end, tonight is different, and he hardly has a reaction at all. He can't muster the energy to care when he is buzzing with tequila and determination. He marches up to the bar with ferocity in his eyes, and he's entirely sure that he's going to make the smoothest and most seductive move ever put into practice, until he catches the bartender's eyes, and all he can manage is a sloppy smile and, hey. He gets a grin and a wave in return, and the redhead leans against the counter, his arms bare against the laminate, and his sleeves folded up to the elbow. The top 2 buttons of his shirt are undone, and his collar is slightly askew. Hey, yourself, he laughs. He winks, and Romeo feels his chest lurch. I'm excited. Romeo stumbles, suddenly and acutely aware of the way his cheeks are burning. The bartender seems amused. Oh, what for? He asks, as if the reverie around him is completely non-existent. Romeo bursts with laughter and leans against the counter to steady himself. I didn't think it was that funny. He looks up at the other's face and can feel just how stupid his own smile is, but can't stop it. Nothing special, I guess. I'm just excited in general for, opportunities and shit. The bartender laughs, and Romeo feels like he's accomplished something Olympian. He smiles wider and puffs out his chest a little. The bartender pushes his hair away from his face, and Romeo is almost entirely certain that his eyes sparkle when they open again. Yeah, it must be good to look forward to them, if you've got 'em. I don't know about that, Romeo replies, tracing lazy circles on the countertop and smiling up at the guy. I don't have any, I don't think. I'm looking for some, though. Excited to find some. Maybe. I forget what the hell we're talking about. The bartender smiles at him with a sudden knowingness, and Romeo feels his heart in his ears. He leans forward as if he's going to say something compelling and beautiful. Instead, he murmurs, "No, I don't know." He's so close, and he smells like cinnamon and whiskey, and Romeo feels very young and very small and very, very warm. The bartender smiles again and laughs. He reaches out and gently pokes the center of Romeo's forehead with one long, thin finger. His voice is less melancholy now, kinder. What's your name anyway? You can't come over here and say that kind of stuff and not even tell me your name. I'm Romeo, he responds much too quickly, much too eager, 1 O in 2, even after such a startling shift in character. The bartender perks at the earnestness, and his grin is once again almost manic in its energy and warmth. Romeo. All right then, I'm Mercutio, Romeo, and I think we could both use another drink. Romeo smiles so wide, it hurts his cheeks, and Mercutio laughs as he reaches below the counter. He pulls out a bottle and 3 glasses and pours something bubbly and golden sweet into 2 of them. He hands both to Romeo with a wink and nods at the countdown clock near the front of the room, which reveals that there's barely 2 minutes of the year left. Better go find your date, Mercutio says, his voice half a question. I don't have one, Romeo blurts out, stumbling over his words. His tongue feels thick, even as he continues. I mean, I had one, but then, it didn't work out. Ow! Mercutio quirks an eyebrow. He slips the 3rd empty cup under the counter. In one quick, seamless motion, he draws one of the full glasses up by the rim, his fingers long and his smile crooked. Well, that's unfortunate. Not really, Romeo murmurs, almost too quiet, nearly drowned out by the music and the growing chant as the partygoers begin the countdown. 1 minute left. You don't think so? It doesn't sound like the best way to ring in the new year. Or whatever, Mercutio quips, swirling his glass as he makes a vague motion with his hand. Well, I mean, I think I found something better. Someone, Romeo corrects himself hastily. His face feels way too hot, and Mercutio's look is so even that it makes him self-conscious. You think so? Mercutio's leaning towards him just a fraction of an inch. He's smiling, and Romeo can't help but mirror him. 30 seconds. Yeah? God, you're weird, Mercutio laughs. He leans closer. You're amazing. Romeo leans in as well. 15 seconds. You don't even know me. I'd like to. The crowd is roaring and the numbers sound indistinct and distant. Romeo is holding his breath, and Mercutio is looking at him with eyes that look both full of heat and cold as ice. His smile is sharp, but not threatening. Maybe that's not a bad idea. 3, 2, 1. Romeo isn't entirely sure who actually initiates the kiss, but he doesn't really care either. He may have knocked over one of the glasses, but all he can focus on is the way Mercutio's lips are warm and sweet and bubble with laughter. Mercutio grabs the back of his neck, and Romeo cups one of his cheeks. The kiss is sloppy and deep and tastes like tequila and chapstick. When they pull apart, they still linger in one another's spheres. And Romeo realizes that when he knocked the glass over, it spilled all over Mercutio's shirt and pants. Oh, fuck. God damn it. I'm so sorry. No, it's fine, Mercutio laughs, reaching over and touching Romeo's cheek. His grin is wicked. You want to help me change? It takes Romeo a moment to process the implications of that invitation, but once he understands, his eyes light up like it's Christmas, and Mercutio laughs and leans in for another kiss. It's deep and a little hard, and when he pulls back, he jumps on the counter and slides across in one quick motion. He grabs Romeo's hand with a wink and gives a surprisingly gentle tug. Come on, then. You don't want to waste the opportunity, do you? Nah, I wouldn't dream of it. Well, that was fine, I guess. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now let's go down to my basement, where we can learn about the latest Penguin Random House books.
My voice is back to normal. I don't sound like a young Canadian person anymore. Welcome to my basement. I've been trying to make this a real cool place for teens to hang out at, so that whenever you come over, you stop bothering me, you just come straight down to the basement. I don't really have a couch yet. I do have a floor mat, which I thought maybe if you could just sit on and read your teen magazines or something. But I'm doing the in-between commercial thing at the end of the show, which is absurd. Why that would happen is probably none of your business. But in the end, I'm not doing it because this is my special episode, my special holiday episode full of gimmicks and bits. But why don't we get out of this basement and go back and review what the hell just happened? Oh, there you are. Welcome to my smoking room. Take a seat in that Naga high chair right there, and you can see on the coffee table in front of you a baboon's skull. If you take the top off that skull, you can see it's filled with cigarettes. And my wife's birds will be here until I die, and even probably afterwards. Go ahead. I know you're probably not old enough, but just have a cigarette and be an adult for once in your life. What happened on this episode? First, it was supposed to be a fun little holiday special where it's after Christmas and before New Year's, sort of that in-between spot between holidays, sort of that endless void that you just exist in for a while. You got the post-fun of Christmas and or Hanukkah, though I don't really know exactly when Hanukkah ends. I think it's probably done by now. And then the before New Year's, where you get to be with people and maybe kiss somebody if you're lucky. Yeah. But in the meantime, you just sit here in the middle, just vibrating, just full of excitement and nowhere to put it, nothing to do except go to work and still be in meetings. So I decided it'd be kind of fun to get a bunch of fan fiction without their permission and read it on my show without their permission, but I'm sure they'll be okay with it. And then just go ahead and read that. But then I got a chip stuck in my throat. And then I sounded like a guy from the East Coast. But I don't know. I would imagine that, you could just fill it with any name. Somebody like, I don't know, Ben. Probably has a podcast called Words About Books. And then sounded like somebody else from the East Coast. Like my wife, who is from my various Nuzzle House properties. And then another person from the East Coast. You can just make up a name, something more fancy, something more, I don't know, biblical. Elton. Is that biblical? I don't think that's biblical. From that person probably have a podcast called Elton Reads a Book a Week. And then just when I thought I couldn't stop sounding like somebody from the East Coast, I suddenly developed the voice of a young Canadian person for no reason at all. And then that person is from Uncited Books Podcast. And then back to myself, back to good old Glenn from the Glenn Reads Books to You podcast. I don't know why I just told you the name of my podcast here on my own podcast. I would imagine somebody called Elton from the East Coast that has a Elton Reads a Book a Week podcast probably has told me in the past, if I ever knew somebody like that, and that person would probably say to me, make sure to tell people to like and subscribe and tell people and rate and stuff. But I suck at that stuff. But I will say the name of my own podcast to you while you're listening to the podcast. That would be the Glenn Reads Books to You podcast. So after that fun little bit where I had various voices that sort of sounded like me, but maybe more in a mocking way. Now I'm back to normal. And I'm tired, and I'm going to go to bed. So I hope you enjoyed all that fan fiction. And I'll see you again, where I think I'm going to read Jane Eyre, of all goddamn things, in my own voice. Well, it appears you found me in the part of the podcast I hate the most, where I tell you all about the places on the internet where you can find me. You can tell I hate this because of the sound effects making it sound like a stormy night in the drawing room of the damned. Now, are you cool? I like cool people. It's the reason why I got involved in this business to begin with, just to meet cool people, not losers. So if you're cool, feel free to go over to my website, nuzzlehouse.com. Don't bother looking for us on social media because we've given it all up after the election with how evil everyone is from Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I shut it all down. But you can find us on Blue Sky, nuzzlehouse.bsky.com. gmail.com. I don't know. We got a Christmas album on our website, which we should do. Everyone should do when they get married, make a Christmas album. We got Just Stay in the Curious Mind, where we make paranormal smut, Masterpiece Auditorium review books, and Two Things, One Cup with Elton from Elton Reads a Book a Week. And since I think you might be cool, you can always just email me directly. glenn.nuzzles@gmail.com. But don't email if you're a nerdlinger or a dork. Now, back to business. I can't believe I drank all of them already. There's got to be one left.